Hello and welcome to the Board Game Badger. My name is Emma and today we're going to be talking about games that are good for de-stressing and relaxing. It's January and here in the UK at least that means that the weather is pretty bleak, it's dark, it's cold, it's the start of a new year, Christmas is over and the new year of work is underway. It's a time of year where I definitely feel the need of a good comfort game to help me de-stress and unwind after a tough day. So I'm just going to start setting up my first game, which is Friday. In terms of what do I mean by a comfort game, what is relaxing to me, relaxation means different things to different people. For me, a game is relaxing if it is easy to set up, doesn't take an awful lot of time to set up, doesn't require a lot of rules relearning, so it's nice and quick to get underway and not too taxing on the brain. So it's something that will gently hold my attention and get me away from thinking of whatever's been going on in my day. And gently relax me without being so taxing that it's kind of burning my brain when it's probably already burned out. Typically, I tend to go for small box games in this category, although not exclusively. I think there's one larger game in here. And theme, interestingly, the themes tend to be fairly relaxing, although there are a couple in there where the themes themselves don't appear to be relaxing, but I find that the game is. Be really good to hear in your comments, what are your go-to comfort type relaxing games? Okay, the aim for me is that these games should be so easy and quick to set up that actually during the video I can set each one up and actually play a turn or two with you to show you what I mean. Okay, so I've just done the setup for Friday while I have been talking, and this is a game that you may have already seen featured in my top 10 solo games as of 2023. It's a classic. The aim is that you're helping Robinson Crusoe, who's landed on your island, you're Friday in this scenario, to improve his skills. He's pretty stupid when he washes ashore. You're trying to help him learn from his mistakes, get better, so that he'll leave and leave you alone in peace on your island. I find this game relaxing because it's a card-based game. I am drawn to card-based games, and the game loop of choosing cards and then building your deck is just something I find very gently relaxing, and there's not a huge amount of adding up scores at the end. So on your turn, this deck's upside down. On your turn, you turn over 2 hazard cards and you choose one that you want to fight. In this scenario, I'm going to have 3 cards to defeat this hazard, and I need to score 2 across those cards, or I need to score 0 with 1 card. I'm going to take this one and I'll explain why in a moment. Okay, so then I can draw 3 cards off my Robinson deck. Okay, so that's a 0, not a good start. That's also a 0, and that's also a 0. So we've lost that encounter. Actually, that's not the end of the world. I kind of chose this encounter thinking that I might lose it, because one of the things that you do as you build your deck in the game is you weed out the bad cards. So he's not great when he starts off, Robinson. He's pretty weak. He's not got a lot of skills, and in scenarios like this where you lose the difference between my score and what I'm aiming to get, in this case it's 2, I can choose to just concede the encounter. Apologies, I keep putting these the wrong way around. Pay the life, which I will do, and having paid 2, I can now get rid of 2 cards. So I'm going to put those back. They're now not in my deck anymore. That gets discarded. That encounter goes into the encounter discard, and I start again. Okay, so these ones are much of a muchness, but there is a useful skill on this one, so I'm just going to take this one And again, I'm going to draw 2 cards. And a 0 and a -1. Okay, so again, the gap is 2. I'm going to need to pay 2 life, and I can get rid of these 2. Again, not the end of the world, but our deck is not getting any bigger, and if we run through the deck too many times, it causes us problems. So I would like to win an encounter at some point soon. Okay, let's choose this one, and I'll explain why if I win. So 2 cards on this one. 1, 2. Okay, so I've got the 1 that I need, so I win this card. I turn it over, and that gives me a score of 1 on this card when I draw it in the future, and I get a life as well when I draw this card in the future. So that is a positive addition to my deck. And we keep going in this way. When we get to the bottom of the deck, we add an aging card, which is another card with bad effects, and these ones take 2 life to get rid of. And we build up our deck, we add in new skills, and then at the end of all of these hazards, we fight pirates. If we're strong enough, we'll be able to overcome 2 pirate attacks, and then we'll get Robinson Crusoe to leave the island. That is Friday. Very, very relaxing, very calming. It's really quick as well, so it's one where it's hard. So if you don't win, you can reset it all fairly quickly and just have another go. And I frequently will just play a few rounds of this in one go, just as a way of relaxing on a lunch break or at the end of a long day. That's Friday. The next game is new to my collection, but it's already fast becoming a bit of a go-to comfort game. And this is one actually where the theme doesn't look very comforting. The Bloody Inn is a game where you are an innkeeper in a rural French town, and you are doing all sorts of shady underhand deals overnight to bribe people to kill other people and then bury their bodies, all in the name of making yourself rich. So not a particularly relaxing theme, but it is actually a really cozy game. It's almost like a ghost story in the winter or something. Okay, so setup for the Bloody Inn, also very simple. These are the people who are going to visit the inn. These are the peasants who I have in my employment. This is my starting money. And the first thing we do is welcome guests into the inn. So first of all, we have this mechanic, and I'm just going to put him here, and I'll explain why I've done that once I've placed all of the guests. So I'm going to put them all, allocate them all of their rooms. I'll put him there. And I'm going to put him there, and I'm going to put him there. Okay, so anybody who is in the room with your key colour on at the end of the round scores you a franc of money. So I've put the Baron here because there's 2 of him, and I'm not going to do anything with him this round, so I'm going to leave him there and hopefully score a point. I would like to bribe this mechanic to come and work for me. So I'm going to turn in a peasant and take that mechanic. This one here means that I need to spend 1 card from my hand in order to bribe him to work for me. And then I'm going to take this novice. He has a 0, so he just comes to me for free. These 2 leave the inn safe. They didn't know how close they came. I score 1 franc for the Baron, but I need to pay the wages of my employees. 1, 2, 3. And that's as simple as it is in terms of the game. You have 2 actions, as I've just done, and I'll show you a couple more of those on the next turn. So the butcher, I'm going to put him here because he needs 3 people to do anything with him, and I don't have that yet, so it's highly unlikely he'll be going anywhere. So let's leave him where he is. We have a Viscount, a Peacekeeper, and another Viscount. Now, these Peacekeepers, they're police, and if there is one in the inn at the end of the round and there is a dead body in the inn, then you immediately lose the game. We don't have any dead bodies at the moment, but I would like to recruit him as my first action. So He doesn't take any people to bribe him, so let's take him into our hand. And for my second action, I want to do something called building an annex. So I can pay one person to build this annex. And once I've built that, I get this special ability, which is from now on, I pay one fewer accomplice to perform the build an annex action. And that's going to be useful because building an annex is where we bury our bodies. So I'm going to put him there, and I'm going to play this peasant to do so. And actually I should have another annex. You start with one annex as well, but I don't have that in front of me. And that's my 2 turns. So again, I score one franc for the butcher, and then I've got 2 accomplices here, so we have to pay their wages. I'm running pretty low on money, so on my next turn, I'm going to need to do something about that. Okay. So we've got, oh dear, a major, oh, and a brigadier chief, 2 police officers, okay, and a newsboy. Okay, we're going to struggle to kill anybody this round, and I did want to show you how to kill people. So let's say we wanted to kill this newsboy here. We need to again use the number of people here to perform the deed. That's a 0, so we don't need anybody to do that. So he turns over. That's our first action. We now have to get rid of this body, because if it's still here at the end of the round, these guys are going to do an investigation. They're going to find me literally red-handed, and we're going to lose. So we're going to use a bury action to bury this corpse. We would ordinarily, some of these need accomplices to do that. This does not need an accomplice, but these priests have the ability to help you to bury a body. So let's put that under here. And we gain 8 francs. Okay, then these guests leave. The cultivator gives us a franc for his stay, and then we have 2 accomplices. We pay their wages, and we have literally got away with murder. So that's how you run through the game. The cards have special abilities, so either as an annex where you get the stated benefits in the text here. This one, for example, will give us 1 franc per purple annex, including this one. And this one gives us 1 franc per red annex. These have a special affinity for killing, so you can kill somebody without having to discard the card, which comes in very useful. Otherwise, if I wanted to kill somebody that was worth 2, I'd have to use these cards. This one would come back into my hand because he has the killing symbol, and this one would have to be discarded. So you're kind of managing what you've got in your hand. You're trying to build up money. It's really surprisingly calming and relaxing just to play the cards, make your decisions, and then earn your money. And because you can launder your money as you go and get these kind of notes or something, whatever they are, these checks, you don't have to do a huge amount of adding up at the end. So all you have to do is add up your number, your tens, and then add up whatever you've got left on the board. So if you're anything like me and you've had a really taxing day and you just do not want to be going through lots of different adding up scenarios for a game, this is a really good one. As I say, not been in my collection long, was a little bit hard to get hold of, but well worth it, and becoming one of my go-to comfort games. That's the bloody inn. I just changed the light and there was a bit of a glare. Okay, so next, Cartographers Heroes. I am not a huge fan of the roll and write / flip and write genre. I have a few games in this genre, but I don't feel like I need any more. I feel like what I've got kind of fits the bill. This one is a little bit different from some of the others, and I find it's particularly good as a very relaxing solo game. I'll just get it set up. Okay, so we're set up for Cartographers Heroes, and the aim of this game is that you are a map maker and you are going about making a map of this fantasy kingdom. What I find relaxing about this game is that you're essentially drawing and you can make your map as pretty as you like. I like to use nice pens or crayons. I've seen people do absolutely stunning pictures on their maps that look absolutely beautiful works of art in themselves. I'm not very good at drawing, but I do find it quite relaxing. And I guess if you like colouring books or just sort of doodling in the margins of paper as a bit of a way of relaxing, this is a really, really good game for that. Again, very easy to set up. We are going to be, in this season, there are 4 seasons, scoring for these 2 scoring conditions, but we need to keep our eye on these because we'll be scoring them later in the game. So the first thing we do is we draw a card, and that tells us what we will be doing. So we've got the option of drawing some fields or some waters, and it needs to be in that square shape. So what do I want to do? So this one here would seem to be the thing I need to try and get. Earn 5 reputation stars for each mountain space connected to a farm space by a cluster of water spaces. Okay, so I guess no brainer then. Let's make, and I haven't got a blue pen. Let's make a water space in this shape. So it needs to be a big square, so we're going to go on like that. That's supposed to be little waves on water. Okay, and that takes 2 time. We've got 8 time in this season. The next one takes 1 time, so we're still good for this season, and it's a settlement. So we're not going to score for this right now, but we will later in the game. And that one is choose a cluster of village spaces and earn 1 reputation star for each row and column that contains a space from that cluster. Okay, so that means that I probably want to choose this shape here. This one would give me a coin, which is helpful because it helps me gain points. But this one, because I'm looking at rows and columns with filled spaces, that looks like the most helpful scoring option here. Where shall I put it? I'm going to put it, I think, here, around sort of hugging this mountain space here, because if we can surround a mountain space we get to take the coin that's depicted inside. Right, I'm now going to try and draw a little hut. It doesn't look like a little hut, but you get the idea. I'm drawing these pictures really quickly here, but you can see how if you wanted to just take your time and make it look really nice, you could totally just do that and draw a beautiful picture of a landscape that emerges in front of you and tell yourself the story of that landscape. It's really very gentle and relaxing, and this is a game, because it is quite compact, I find that if I've got a little side table or even just a tray next to me, I can sit on the sofa with this pad, some pens, this on a tray next to me, and just sit quite happily with a blanket, with a cup of tea, and just making my little map. It's really, really calm. It's so calming and so relaxing, and it makes such a lovely, even with my rubbish drawings, as the map starts to fill up, it really does look very nice and quite satisfying in the end to play. Right, so the next one is a lagoon, and remember that we're scoring this one and we want to connect farm spaces to water and to mountains via water spaces. So let's put this one here. You can rotate and flip the shapes if you want to, but I haven't seen fit to do that yet. 2, 3, 4. Oh, we've got a baddie. So a frost giant advance. They will get in our way and they will deduct points from us at the end of the round as well, unless they are fully either defeated or surrounded. And this actually is from an expansion. I've got I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a frozen landscape one. It might even be called Realm of the Frost Giants. So this is a baddie from the expansion. Okay, so let's draw him, and he will tell us where he goes. He starts in the top right hand corner, and he will go in the first available space that fits that pattern, and that's here. So here's the frost giant in the way there, and I'm going to just put him there so I remember what happens when I get him. I don't know if I should have included him when playing without the expansion, but whatever, I have, so there we go. Okay, next, oh look, a hero. So the heroes can defeat these monsters and I can choose where to place them. So let's get he's also from the expansion. And he has to be able to fit. I can't draw him that way round. I'm going to have to draw him this way round, which means I'm not going to make a huge amount of use of him here. But every little helps, I suppose. So let's draw here. That's supposed to be a sword. It looks a lot like a sword. And that cancels out that. And it actually surrounds that space. So to be fair, actually I've only got this one bit here, so he's losing me like 2 points because there's 2 free adjacent spaces, so that's not too bad. Cool. Okay, and then we carry on in this way, and then at the end of the round we look at our scoring criteria and we score A and B, and then in summer we score B and C, in fall we score C and D, and then in winter we score D and A. So you're always planning ahead to think, what do I need for later in the game, whilst also trying to maximize what you're going to score now. So there is a little bit to think about. It kind of does pull your attention and make you make decisions, but it's not so taxing on your brain that it's just going to make a stressful day worse. I really enjoy this game. I think it's a great one to pull off the shelf every now and again on a cold day. Get the colouring pencils out, get the pens out, get a cup of tea and just have a really good scribble away. Okay, at the start of talking about Cartographers Heroes, I said I'm not a massive fan of the roll and write genre. And with that in mind, here is the roll and write game Three Sisters. Like, no kidding, I'm not that fond of the genre, but the games that I've chosen that I have from the roll and write genre are games that I really, really do enjoy. I think they're what I feel are the best examples of a roll and write / flip and write game. I do have others. Maybe I'll do a video on roll and write / flip and writes that I enjoy. As I say, not my favourite, but I love this one. Such a cozy theme, this one, because it's all about gardening. And this one, you have 2 sheets. They fit really nicely on the back of a notepad or something. So again, something I like to sit and play whilst I am sitting on the sofa. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 pens. I'm going to take one for me, I'm going to be green, and I'm going to take one for Farmer Edith, who's this character here. And I don't know what her deal is. It says in the rule book that she is trying to help, but she doesn't help. She kind of tramples my crops and she steals my equipment, or at least borrows it and doesn't bring it back. And I don't know, maybe the rulebook's been generous to her. I wonder if she is maybe one of my competitors at the county fair, and she's a bit threatened by me, and maybe she's trying to sabotage my efforts. But I'm deeply suspicious of Farmer Edith's motives. Be that as it may, we roll our dice, and then we place them. Hopefully I'm doing this right, and it is on the one with it. It's either on this one or on the next one. The rulebook will tell you which one. This isn't a tutorial, but you can pop them on here. And then in the first round, on the even numbered rounds, I go first. On the odd number rounds, Farmer Edith goes first. And so I get to choose 2 actions. I can do a garden action, and then I can do an action from the board using the numbered dice. So I've got a number 4 here, and that allows me to plant a crop in plot 4 of my little allotment here. And I think the first thing that I would like to do is grow this pumpkin. I filled in the pumpkin. I can only do the bottom box, but that at least means that Farmer Edith can't grab it from me. And I do like to get the pumpkins, so I'm just going to get this one as well. So that's 2 crops that I can plant in my garden. I also get this rondel action here, which is I can plant or water. If I water, it means I can move up the next box. But I'd quite like to plant. So tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to plant that corn there, and I'm going to plant that very small pumpkin there. And that pumpkin allows me to cross off a box on the goods track. This is where this game, I absolutely love it. It's so satisfying because I talk about games that are combo-tastic, that you take an action which gives you another action, which leads to another action, which leads to another action. I absolutely love that, and this game has that in spades. It is so good. Once you kind of get up this track a bit, you start to earn other rewards, and it all starts chaining. And I have to use this bit to write down all the stuff that I've got so I don't forget. It gets absolutely ridiculous later on. It's brilliant. So I put that to one side. Then Farmer Edith takes a turn. It crosses off a crop. It's not one we've already planted, but it means we can't plant it in the future. And she always chooses the tallest pumpkin first, and she takes the whole thing. So she's in plot 2 because she's got a die with the 2 on it. She's crossed off that whole pumpkin, which means it's not available to me, which I'm pretty cheesed off about because, as you know, I like the pumpkins. She then takes an action here on the rondel. She's going to take an apiary action. So she is going to take, where does it say what she takes? She's rolled a 2, so she takes the top scoring box of the honey track, which is this one, which means that top point is no longer available to us. So the role of Farmer Edith is that she is blocking us, she's taking things that we want, and generally being a gentle nuisance and getting in our way a little bit without it feeling too aggressive. So then I will take, and the reason, by the way, that Farmer Edith took the 2 is that she always takes this one if it's available, and if not, she works her way round clockwise. So her turns are very structured. You know which die she will take, so you can then take a die that she might otherwise take to frustrate you, so you can plan a bit. What do I want to do? I know, I want to have some shed time. Right, so we can now plant in number 5. So let's do that. And let's take that as well. And let's have some shed time. So we can then choose one of these tools and get to work on building those. I like to do this one, the wheelbarrow, because it gives me a good after I've taken a shed action, so it starts to chain my bonuses together, so I should do that. And then Farmer Edith is also going into number 5. She can't go for pumpkins, so she's going to take a corn. And then at the end of that round, I get to take a bonus action as indicated on the board. This time it's a shed action. So I'm going to take that, finish my wheelbarrow. I'm going to get 3 points at the end of the game, and because that was a shed action, I've just finished the wheelbarrow, I'm going to take a goods as well. We move on to round 2, and it's Farmer Edith's turn. So again, we roll the die. Oh, actually, and Farmer Edith should have moved round to here, because our last die was there, so she moves to there. So we put that there, we put that there, we put that there, and we put that there, and we go again. And so then throughout the game, you keep doing that. You're moving around, you're growing crops, you're earning points, you're gaining other actions. So for example, grow this pumpkin further. At the point that I've got these two, that one finished, which it already is, and this one finished, I can shade in this crocus, this plant here, which gives me a crocus action, which is down here, which gives me 2 compost, which I can then use to manipulate the dice so that I can get, I can plus or minus 1 on one of my results. So something that has a little bit of decision space in it, lovely satisfying combos, gentle theme. It does require some adding up at the end for your score, but it's not too bad, and it's just a game that I really enjoy playing. Three Sisters. Next up is Onirim. This is another one that you may have seen on my top 10 solo games list. Absolutely love this game. Setup of this game is very easy. You just make sure that this deck is very well shuffled. Heads up, this may not be particularly well shuffled in the interest of time, but I will show you how the game works. So the first thing I do is draw off a hand of cards. There are some expansions in this. This game is really good value for money. I think I paid about, I want to say like £25 for this game. And it comes with 7 expansions in the box. So once you've played the base game, you can chop and change and add in and remove whatever expansion content you like. So it is really variable. I think I can discard this in my first draw, so I will do, and shuffle it back in. So you have a hand of 5 cards, and the aim is that you are in a nightmare labyrinth, and you have until you get to the bottom of this deck to find all of the doors to escape. In the base game it's 8 doors. I have 12 because I've shuffled in the Glyphs expansion. I also have in here the Towers expansion, and I have the Crossroads and Dead Ends expansion as well. Those are the ones I particularly enjoy playing. Okay, so I'm going to play this card first of all, and then I draw up. Okay, this is a Dead End card. It's from one of the expansions. It does nothing apart from clog up my hand. I can't get rid of it. I can't play it. The only way I can get rid of it is if I discard my whole hand, which I don't want to do just right now. Bit of a pain. I'm just going to play this key, but I'm not going to play it here in the row of beige cards. If I get 3 beige cards in a row with different symbols, well, non-adjacent symbols, then I can search the deck for a door, but I'd quite like to use this in a different way. So I can discard it, I can draw 5 cards, I can discard, I have to discard any one of them. I'm going to discard this Nightmare card, which is not a very helpful card, and then I can reorder the rest in any way that I like. So I think that I will order them like that, and actually I'll be able to find the blue door if I do that. Okay, cool. So we will place a blue. It's different symbol there, so that can go there. Oh, I've not got enough cards in my hand. Okay, I know for a fact there's a Nightmare in here, so I'm just going to replay another key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to discard the Nightmare because I have to. And do I particularly want any of these cards? I'll just make sure that that one is on the top. Okay, and then I draw back up to 5. And I will place this one here, so it's a blue but it's a different symbol, and I draw back up, and then I place my third blue, and at that point I search the deck for a blue door. And there's one, and that is me on the way to finding my way out. I then shuffle back the deck, draw back up to 5 cards, and then I start again. And for example, I'll put that green there, and a door can't be held in my hand, so I then shuffle this in. One thing about this game is that you do shuffle a lot, and I know that some people find that a bit irritating. I don't find it irritating. I find that the constant shuffling forces me to slow down and keeps my hands busy, so I actually find it very therapeutic and relaxing. If you don't enjoy shuffling, there is a very good digital implementation of this game. There's an app which kind of does all the shuffling for you, so you can still enjoy the game and the decision making and the kind of that relaxing element of it, but if you're particularly irritated by the shuffling, you don't have to do it, which is pretty neat. So I'm going to place this here. This is a Crossroads card from one of the expansions. It acts as any of the colours that I want it to be, and I would like it to be green. Again, noting that the symbol is different, and oh, I've got a green one there, so I can search for a green card, a green door card, and there's one there. And then we proceed in that way until we've either got all of the doors onto the table and we win, or we've burned down to the bottom of the deck and we've lost. When we encounter these nightmare cards, we either have to discard our whole hand, or we discard a key if we've got one in our hand, or we discard a door, or we discard the next 5 cards in the deck, excluding doors and other dream cards. So they can be not helpful, although they can be helpful if you end up with a hand comprised mostly of these, because they can just help you to get rid of those cards. So they can kind of get in your way a little bit and make it a little bit more complicated. So that is Onirim. I really highly recommend this game. It is a game with a lower price point than some other games, but a lot of content in the box. Very, very relaxing, and because it is just a deck of cards, you can take it pretty much anywhere with you. The last game I want to show you is Cascadia. I'm just going to do a quick setup of that. I said earlier that January is a bleak month in the UK, and there is a storm going on outside. I don't know if the sound is coming through to the audio, but it is not a very nice evening out there. A nice evening to be at home playing a game of Cascadia. So this is the last game I'm going to show you this evening. It is Cascadia. I have talked about this game before. It is a very lovely, relaxing game. I play this quite a lot with my family, just as a very kind of relaxing game after dinner when we've all had a bit of a long day and just want to sit quietly with something that's not too taxing. It is absolutely beautiful, and it's very satisfying to see your little habitat building up. In the solo game, we have some scoring objectives, the same as we would in a multiplayer game. for the different animals. So we're trying to get animals in different configurations, and we are also trying to build out our landscapes so that we have large contiguous spaces of the same habitat type. So for my first turn, I can choose to draft a pair of a habitat tile and an animal. At the end of the turn, the rightmost pair will be removed from the game. That kind of represents another player who would be taking tiles away. So you always know that that's going to go. So if I don't take this, it's gone, whereas others will be around for a little bit longer. Conversely, if I do take this, then that goes. I think I would like to take these. So this token, habitat token, going here helps me to build out this mountain, and I always like to build the elk ring. So I've got spaces here for elk, and I can try and build that out round here. The hawk that I've taken, I'm going to, I'll just move this up a bit, place on this keystone tile here, and that allows me to take a nature token, which will score me a point at the end of the game if it's unused. But if I choose to use it, I can mix and match my habitat tile and animal token. So those are removed from the game. Move those along. And we draw out some new tokens like this. Okay, so what would I like to do? I'm going to take this because, am I? Yes, I am. I said I wanted to build out an elk ring, and I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put that there. Again, I'm building out my mountain. Put my elk there, and I've got another nature token to play with. These get removed. These move up. And we put another 2 out there. Oh, bears. Okay, so we can't continue to develop the elk in this turn. So what can we do? What do the bears want? The bears want to be in large groups. So I could start to build out a large bear group by taking one of these tiles and placing one of the bears here. Interestingly, the foxes want to be surrounded by one type of animal, and here I'm trying to build a ring of elk. If I can achieve that with a fox in the middle, then I'll score a lot of points for the elk. And foxes, I never find score that well, but I would get 6 points for a fox in the middle there. So with that in mind, I'm going to take these 2. I'm going to put the bear here, and I'm going to put the fox habitat tile ready for the fox. It won't score until I've got a fox on it, but I'll put it here, and straight away I've got 2 points for the forest. We call this peas in our house because we think they look like a little plate of garden peas. So I got 2 points for the peas, and when I get a fox, if I can get the elk around it, that could be a really neat little scoring arrangement just there. Okay, so we take that and we move this along, and put this there, put this there. And I'll tell you what, I'm having so much fun. Let's do one more turn. So I think I would like this elk to go towards my elk ring, but I don't think I want another fox because I'm not sure what I'm building out elsewhere. So I might use a nature token. So I'm going to spend that. I will take the elk, and I'll put the elk there to start to build out my ring. And I'm going to take this one so I can start to build a salmon run. I'm going to put it up here where the habitat matches. So you can already see, even in 4 turns, how you build up a really calm, beautiful little landscape with these formations of animals that are very satisfying when you get the shape that's on the scoring cards. There is some addition of scoring at the end of the game, Nothing too bad. And I think it's just a very, very good, very, very attractive, very easy to play, very calming, very relaxing game. And that is Cascadia. So I hope that you have enjoyed going through these games with me this evening. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. As I said at the start, if you have got any favourite games that you class as your go-to comfort games, your games that you play when you're relaxing, please do mention them in the comments, because I would be really interested to hear about those. As always, I can't guarantee when I'm able to put out new content, because I've got a lot on with work at the moment and with my family. So my content creation is sporadic. So if you do like what I'm doing and you would like to see more, subscribing is the best way to make sure that you don't miss anything, because as I say, I'm going to struggle to adhere to a regular schedule. Thank you for joining me. I will leave you to the rest of your day. I hope that it's a good one, and I hope that you'll join me again next time.